Belt and Belt, what's going on, baby? You're undefeated, undisputed. Belt and Belts World Champions are here with you guys on a Tuesday. I got an exhausted Joey. I got a fellow world champion man up here with me. Gentlemen, good evening to you all.
Good evening. Good evening. How's everybody feeling today? How's everybody feeling?
Joey, exhausted, dude. Really?
Yeah, man. It is what it is. I'm drained.
The irony is crazy. Like you're exhausted on this day, on this night. Oh my gosh! I was telling everybody before the show, like it's like I have been waiting for this show. Well over a month now. Just we knew that our guest was coming on, and I mean, Joey. I mean, tonight's the night. You know.
It very much is, and I want to say thank you to everybody who's out there watching. You're in for a treat tonight, and I got to say, we've been having guests on, and it's been amazing. Now we're taking it to another level tonight, baby. We got, man, let me tell you, we got a gentleman coming on with us tonight. Career spans over a quarter century at this point. Can't say enough. You're talking about somebody whose career has led to him to all corners of this world. He's taken on everybody, all challengers, won championship after championship, won tournament after tournament. He's wrestled the best. He's beaten them, and he's here with us tonight. And that's a very special thing.
And absolutely. Without further ado, let's welcome our guest to the show. The Greek god Papadon himself is here on Belt and Belt. Good evening to you, sir.
Greetings and salutations, gentlemen. How is everyone?
We are in the presence of a Greek god, literally, y'all. I mean, come on now. Let's go. Let's go, man. But we definitely thank you for joining us. Definitely thank you for the time. I'm getting tongue-tied. I'm so excited, Joey. It's crazy.
Oh, make sure you just keep it in your pants, Junior. We'll be fine.
Whoa. Okay. Whoa.
Woo! I like that.
Well, he's coming with zingers already. I'm telling you. Before we dive in, if you guys have questions for Papadon, make sure you drop it in the comments. Let's definitely keep it respectful, guys. Platinum Swords, good evening to you, sir. We see you out there in the crowd. The generic non-Greek god is here. What's up? What's going on, generic jobber?
I hope not. I wouldn't think you'd.
But yeah, we're absolutely excited to have you on. Thank you for the time, Joey.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, we're very excited to hear. We're very excited to talk about your career. And with a career like yours, it's like where to begin. I guess first, what I guess we always ask everybody, what is your first memory as a wrestling fan? First, were you a wrestling fan? And then what is your first memory that got you into it?
Yeah.
That is a good question. I wish I can say I remember when I first saw professional wrestling, who I saw. Growing up here in New York, in Queens, I would have to say my earliest memory would have to be the WWF, Hulkamania.
Yeah.
But the plot thickens because I am a diamond in the rough. I am a rare breed, if you will. Okay. My flavor of ice cream per se wasn't the WWF. I liked the WWF, but I absolutely loved Jim Crockett Promotions and the NWA.
Absolutely. Yeah. So who didn't?
So that was my wrestling. 605 TBS Superstation Saturday nights. And I could tell you the two matches that made me want to be a pro wrestler. The first match was a TV match between Sting and Flair. And it wasn't Great American Bash. It wasn't Clash of the Champions. It was an average TV match they had on NWA Power Pro that played here in New York on Channel 11. At the time, it was WPIX. And I remember watching it. I fell in love with Sting. I'm like, who is this guy? No Diddy. The point being is,
sure. Yeah.
So, and then maybe sometime after that, I remember him watch wrestling Mike Rotundo in the Varsity Club, and Mike Rotundo had the TV title, and Sting won the TV title from Rotundo and won $15,000 cash in a bag. And I remember going into my mother, into the kitchen where my mother was at, and telling her, "Hey, Mom, I know what I want to be when I grow up." And she's a Greek immigrant, probably thinking doctor, lawyer, or hoping, I want to be a pro wrestler. She's like, go play with your toys. And I always say I felt like that from Ralphie from A Christmas Story. You'll shoot your eye out, kid, type of scenario. You know what I mean? So
I love it.
That is when I said, you know what? This is what I want to do. I mean, my two loves in life are wrestling and, Star Wars / comic books, geek nerdum, as you could tell.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it, and we definitely going to dive into some of that as well. Because hell, all of us, we all have a little geekdom in us as well. Hell, we collect belts. Man Up got figures. Joey and his kids got video games. So we're our ages, and we're living our best lives. We really are.
Speaking of video games, shout out to fellow wrestler Brandon Scott, because he posted a video game that he bought recently that I didn't know existed, because I'm a big fan of the N64 wrestling games, right?
Sure,
that's the last time I played video games. And there was something called WCW Saturday Night, which I didn't know existed, and it was a mod, but in a cartridge form. So lo and behold, I went on the internet. I bought the game. Then I went on the internet and bought a Nintendo 64. So now I got all my Nintendo 64 games, even Virtual Pro Wrestling 2 from Japan with the converter, and I got it all set up, and I'm ready to play. And nostalgia is running wild in this house with an N64 Nintendo games. So
nostalgia is real. It really is. Oh my goodness.
I gotta say this. I'm sorry. I'm just like you, man. I'm a big nerd with video games. Like Cedric said, I collect the figures. I'm a huge. My favorite cartoon and today's movies is Transformers. What is yours?
Cartoon wise, that's tough, man. Because when I was young, I really liked G.I. Joe. I liked G1 Transformers, not the Michael Bay stuff. Yeah. I love Thundercats. What else? He-Man, Masters of the Universe. That was my jam when I was really, really young.
Hey, you straight speaking my language.
Silverhawks, throwback. A lot of people know about. Mask.
Exactly.
Man, he went. Okay.
Hell, even Laser Tag and Photon, which weren't cartoons, but those were throwbacks from back in the day.
So you're a fan of this? Then.
I always say 80s cartoons are better than 90s cartoons, and people always give me flack about it. And I just say, look, what movies are being made now? 80s cartoons. What sold toys? 80s cartoons. 90s did a little bit. I'm not going to front. We had Batman the Animated Series, and but if you really look at what happened in the 80s, we had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we had Transformers, we had G.I. Joe, we had He-Man, we had even a Barbie and Gem for the ladies and all this other stuff. It was just She-Ra, a marketer's dream. She-Ra, with Hordak, of course. I know. It's crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're right.
Absolutely. So yeah, to the day, if I can find that stuff streaming, I'm watching it. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
All day. Good stuff. All right, let's just checking some of these comments real quick.
Yeah,
we got Baby Jill on YouTube. We thank you, appreciate you guys, appreciate you watching. Jerry Johnson, is that Vindicator Weapon Alpha I seen on that black shelf over there?
Yes, it is.
We'll get into a little bit of that a little bit later
Oh,
on.
yeah. Speaking my language.
Baby Jules' first best memory was 99 Raw. Okay. All right. Jerry Johnson, he's still playing No Mercy. WrestleMania 2000 on the 64 on the regular. Absolutely. Saturday morning cartoons. Jace and the Wheeled Warriors. I'm not familiar with that one. Are y'all?
No.
Sorry,
bud. That must have been a PBS type deal.
I might gotta see it. I don't remember it. No.
Good. Yeah. Good deal. All right. So we talked about your first wrestling memories. So let's talk about your first time into the ring. First time training. Where'd you train?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's the deal.
Yeah.
I was born in 1977. I'm 47 years old.
Hey.
You too?
Yeah, brother.
Hey.
So I always wanted to draw comics for Marvel or DC or whatever, Dark Horse, whatever, and be a pro wrestler. Those are my two jobs that I wanted to do for a living since I was a young child.
Sure.
Coming from a Greek family, straight off the boat from Greece, my father, being a hard ass that he was, may he rest in peace, didn't want me to go to school for art. So I didn't go to school to draw. And I'm not one to toot my own horn, but toot, I can draw like a mother. Like people like, yo, dude, you wasted that talent by not being a professional comic book artist. But I digress. When I graduated college, I said, you know what? I don't want to live with regret. I always wanted to be a pro wrestler. And I wanted to go to Killer Kowalski School of Wrestling. Nice. Because all I knew was AWA, NWA, WWF, and a little bit of what I found out afterwards was ECW, right? Mm-hmm. Didn't know anything else. Didn't know about the indies. So I couldn't find an address online. I know that some of you young folks out there were like, what are you, crazy? Listen, in the 90s, the internet isn't what it is today. Okay, Absolutely. So it was a little difficult. So what happened was I was in Penn Station one day, and I walked into a newsstand, and I saw a Pro Wrestling Illustrated Guide to the Independents. What the hell, the Guide to the? What are the Independents? So I open up, I see all these companies across the United States, all these independent wrestling companies, and lo and behold, I find the LIWF, the Long Island Wrestling Federation, in Queens, New York, wow. Run by Bobby Lombardi. Right? May he rest in peace. I went to the school with a buddy of mine who was also a wrestling fan at the time. And we were going to join together. He ended up not joining. I joined. A week later, they moved from the Middle Village, Queens, to 920 Jamaica Avenue in East New York, Brooklyn. And that's where I started training under the guidance of Homicide. So
nice.
Started training in June 99. Had my first pro match July 17th, 1999, on my 22nd birthday. And it's been nonstop ever since. And after the doghouse closed because it's lost its lease, I continued my training at the NYWC, the New York Wrestling Connection, here in Long Island. And I was polished up, and I consider him not only a friend and a mentor, but one of my trainers, Mikey Whipwreck, as well. So when people ask me who trained you, it's Homicide and Mikey Whipwreck.
Love it. Love it.
Nice.
Love it.
That's a nice story. Nice story.
All right. So we always ask wrestlers coming on about that come to Jesus meeting when you take that first bump, when you run the ropes first time. Talk to us about that first day.
To be honest with you, I don't even remember, because I've been I'm not gonna it's look 25 years of wrestling, and the doghouse ran every week, so it's not like we had one show a month. So sometimes we did two shows a week, kayfabe Fridays, and Saturday was the main show. And I was training every day, also at the doghouse. So for me, it's like changing socks at this point. I don't remember my first bump. I do remember that first fall. It was in the LIWF ring with Homicide, and I mean, it felt like home. It felt like it belonged. So it wasn't anything that was nothing. There was no culture shock moment or come to Jesus moment because that's what I knew I wanted to do. And here I am, 47 years old, 25 years under my belt, working circles around all these kids who can't even lace my boots, you know?
I love it. I love it. I love
and
it.
I don't have to slap my leg to get over. So
Dang, I was
non-leg
saying, I
slapper here.
slapped after I talked.
What's up?
No, I said hell, if after I say something, I was going to slap my thigh just to. That's some Jack Vaughn stuff, right?
I love it.
Yeah,
I
but
love it. All right, so I got one for you. After your first match you ever had, first of all, do you remember your first match? And second,
Yes, I do.
how did it make you feel? How did you feel after that match?
I was on cloud nine. The reason why is because I totally forgot everything we called in the back. And within the first 2 minutes, I'm hitting a stinger splash and a scorpion deathlock. And I wrestled simply the best Andrew Edwards in my first match, July 17, 1999. It ended up in a double DQ or draw. There was no winner. And then there was a guy named Matt Lariat who decided to just do a run-in for the sake of doing a run-in, and did a run-in on both of us. And I told a buddy of mine who was trained by Malenko at the time. He passed away. His name is John Mayer, also known as Crusher Dugan. Crusher Dugan. And when I told him what happened, he goes, "What are you, nuts? You never let anyone run in on you." He goes, "That's totally unsafe." And he was right. But when I look back at the match, it wasn't a great match, but I mean, you know, it's my first match. You know, it's always gonna have a special place in my heart. But
Absolutely.
you know, it is what it is. It was the drizzling shits, to be honest with you. I'm sorry if I didn't mean to curse, but
No,
you're fine.
You're good.
So compared to my matches now, it was the drizzling shits. You know what I mean? Compared to a Cade Lothbrook match or an Alvin Alvarez match, it was still considered gold.
Nice.
Those are two of my boys. I've always bust chops. So just so you guys know. You know how Al Snow and Mick Foley bust each other's chops? Yeah. So
I love it. Hopefully they're watching, so you know that you did it. Absolutely.
You got the rub, kid.
Oh man, that was a good one. All right, I got one more for you too. Now, after that first match, you said you was on cloud nine, and you said you forgot everything you're supposed to do. Because that was going to be kind of my next question. Did y'all, plan things? How did y'all plan things out? But you say you forgot everything to do. I really know you just full of excitement and you just ready to go. I mean, that's pretty much all of us when we, doing something that we love. But after that first match and you basically got it out your system, I guess you could say, all that excitement or whatever. How did it feel to now know that you're basically starting your career as a professional wrestler after that first match?
That's a good question because I never thought about it. Obviously, after time passed and you keep wrestling, you're in it a month, you're in it 6 months, you're in it a year. Within the first year, 6 months later, Homicide and I are main eventing at the Doghouse in a ladder match for the heavyweight title.
Okay,
so, then after that, I was put into a tag team with Ed Toscano. He was known as Havoc. I wasn't Greek God Papadon at the time. I was just Papadon, which is my last name. So for people out there, I'm Greek. If you put IOU at the end of Papadon, that's my full Greek last name. So that's how the name came about. Okay. So point being is we were thrown into a tag team called The Solution. And we wrestled all over up and down the East Coast. We went to TNA, where we were at Nashville. We did TNA a couple times.
Okay.
We wrestled all over the place, and we were people, from what I've been told, a staple in good tag team wrestling on the independent circuit in the early 2000s here in the Northeast. After a while, I take pride in saying I'm a pro wrestler. I mean, look at my shirt. I'm a pro wrestling guy. You know what I'm saying?
I love it. Yes. Absolutely.
So, at the end of the day, look, fans are fans, but I hate the word mark because it's not a dirty word. I'll joke around with it, but we're the biggest ones because we emulate what we did, what we're doing now, what we saw growing up. So I don't care about anybody being passionate and just showing their love. It's awesome. I wish everybody was like that. With everything, the world would be a better place. But to me, I take it to the utmost level of professionalism and seriousness. Like I have certain mantras that I cater my career after. One of them is wrestling is like ice cream, and I tell this to all the young cats. I say it's vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, and GGP, Greek god Papadon for those who are a little slow. My flavor of wrestling is realism and believability.
Absolutely.
And there's another mantra that I stolen from Johnny Valentine.
Mm-hmm.
Then he once said, "People may not believe wrestling's real; they're going to believe I'm real." And I use that, and I will die on that shield because when I come out there, people go home. They remember the Greek guy, for better or for worse. Whether they liked what happened in the match or whether they booed me out the building, which 99.9% of the time is the case, because I'm just quote unquote a great heel. Point is, I give them their money's worth and I make that emotional connection. And that's what it's about. You make that emotional connection with the fans, you entertain them, you give them their money's worth, and you send them home happy, and you make that memory. Everyone talks about Piper and Snooker with the coconut because it's a memory. Everyone talks Rock Hogan, WrestleMania 18 when they're looking over into the crowd and it's electric. It's a memory. Everyone remembers when Hogan turned heel and the NWO was formed. It's a memory. Everyone remembers when they broke Dusty's arm. Make it good. You know what I mean? It's a memory.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
You make those moments and memories with people, bro, then you can do whatever you want.
Absolutely. And so those memories that bring them back for more.
Yeah,
it really is.
I really think it's the memories and, like he said, that emotion connection as well too. I think that as well.
I tell people all the time. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I tell people all the time. There's a difference between wrestling and working. You could teach a monkey, you could teach a dog, you could teach a bear to wrestle. Just moves in a sequence.
Sure.
Go to A to Z. But working's a lost art. Very few know how to work. Right. Working is when you make an emotional connection, get the most mileage out of something that's this big. And once you get that going and the people start biting, then you control them. To me, as a performer, as an athlete, as a professional wrestler,
right?
I am the puppet master. I come out, I want you to react a certain way for me and for my opponent, because I have one job, to get my opponent over by getting myself over in the meantime and in between time. And subconsciously, you guys don't realize that I'm getting myself over as I'm getting my opponent over and getting the match and the storyline over at the same time.
Absolutely.
Because it's magic. And at the end of the day, a lot of people don't know how to do that. They only know how to slap their leg and no sell everything. Let me kick you in the face. You don't sell it, but I'm going to chop you because it made it sound, because it's skin on skin. You sell the chop. And unfortunately, I've said this a million times, a lot of the people in the ring nowadays, and I don't want to sound like a grumpy old man, have never been in a real fight. They've never been punched in the face. They've never thrown a real punch in and punched someone in the face. So how can you emulate that in a staged combat environment? You can't. That's like asking me to pretend I'm blind. Unless I do research, I don't know what it is to be blind. I could see. You know what I'm saying? So point being is, in order to emulate something, you need to know what it feels like organically, naturally. So a lot of people nowadays don't know how to work. They just know how to paint by numbers, and it's sad. Sorry. Sorry for the rant.
No. We enjoy it. We enjoy it.
Yeah.
I feel the same exact way. And I was talking about, I actually mentioned that during the match we were watching on Sunday with you and Rey Mysterio from several years back, where I liked even when you guys did a double clothesline, you weren't afraid to clothesline each other. You know, and it's stuff like that. It's like a lot of these guys now look like they are afraid to make that contact and stuff like that. It's just kind of like a pep and a, it's not, there's not a follow through. There's not that's like you said, it's like, if you're afraid to get hit, why are you a wrestler? Because you can't take a punch, you can't take a clothesline, you can't take something like that. You're not getting across to me as a fan watching at home either. When I see that, it's like I can tell immediately. It's like, you guys just barely like bounce off each other. It's like, but you can't. It's so obvious. Like you're talking about these guys now. Like a lot of them just look like they're scared to get hit. When I see people on WWE running the ropes and they look like they're afraid to hit the ropes, like.
Listen, it behooves me to like. Mm-hmm. I'm a great dancer, but I'm not going to go join the Nutcracker Suite because I don't do ballet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, you know, if you're afraid to get tagged, then you shouldn't be in the ring. I watched a clip the other day, and shout out to Mike Mondo. I sent him the clip, and we both laughed about it. He's a good friend of mine. It was Stan Hansen versus Steve Williams, Dr. Death Steve Williams in Japan.
Oh,
Japan.
Yeah. Sure.
And Dr. Death picks him up for the Oklahoma Slam, hits one turnbuckle, goes for the second one. Stan Hansen slides off the shoulders, pushes him into the buckle. Out comes Dr. Death. Clothesline. Boom. Lariato. Bang. 1, 2, 3. Simple, but effective. And it looked like death. And I can tell you, look, watching it with a trained eye, no one got hurt. No one got stiffed. It was snug, but it was snug in the right place at the right time. And it made an impact. And it was effective storytelling at its finest. And it was just simple. It was from one finisher into another out of nowhere, desperation. Boom. 1, 2, 3. Great story. That's all you need. It's good versus evil. It's not difficult. You know?
Sometimes less is more.
Absolutely. Try to convince that to my wife, but she still doesn't buy that.
I love it. Now, Papadon's a wrestler. Now you go back to that kid who told his mom that I want to be a wrestler. Fast forward, you are a wrestler. How does mom feel now?
Unfortunately, she's not here. She passed away a little over a year ago from cancer.
Yeah.
But my mom and dad were both around to see me start my career.
Okay.
And they kept telling me, quit. What are you doing? Give it up. This is stupid. Yada, yada, yada. They did not support me whatsoever. Right? Until they saw me in the movie The Wrestler. And my father kind of popped and marked out for a hot second. I sold it. And he had like a smirk on his face. He was like, oh, that's my son, you know? Like he had like a proud moment that I saw. And it sits in my heart, you know, for him to have that moment. But they never really supported it because, I mean, they came from a time where you worked, you lived, you worked, you lived, and then you die. You know what I mean? And they were both hard workers, and all they cared about was taking care of their family. And I guess, I mean, my dad's one of my heroes, and my mom as well, because they taught me my work ethic, and nobody works harder than me. Nobody. I'm sorry. I don't care what you say. I mean, fact of the matter is, I've heard a million no's in 25 years. I've had a lot of success, a lot of opportunities. But yet everybody I've done wrestled, everyone who's crossed my path, got an opportunity to get on a national stage, and I haven't. And it doesn't bother me because my time will come. Because if you sit at the table long enough, you'll get the winning hand eventually. And when I get that winning hand, I'm going to make that sucker count, and I'm all in. And I'll score big. I'll take the pot. A little poker reference for all you people out there going, what is he talking about? What table? Is he a Dudley boy? You know, they weren't too supportive, but I didn't do it for them. I do it for me. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
I want to piggyback off that. I want to piggyback off that because there was a few things in my life too that I've done, as a kid, teen, and young adult that, my mom didn't support either, because like you said, my mom was one of those. That's where I get my work ethic from. My mom would work 20 hours a day at work, come home, deal with her kids, do it all over again. Would barely sleep.
I can attest to that. I can attest to that because man, that literally works 28 hours a day. I've never figured out how he does it, but he does it. So yeah.
But
Are you Jamaican?
Well, my grandfather is.
So it's time to go to work, man.
Yeah. I'm originally from Texas, but my grandfather, he's from Jamaica.
Okay.
Yeah. I forgot where I'm going now. Oh, okay.
Hard work ethic, your mom. Your hard work ethic, your mom.
Yeah. So with that being said, I've had some things in my life that, that I've done. My mom didn't support it. It is. And my dad, he passed away of cancer when I was 6 years old. So
I'm sorry.
Grew up without my dad. But all I had was my mom and my sisters. And of course, I said this before in the previous show, my sister used to beat me up all the time. My mom, she didn't support a lot of things that I was trying to do. And I know me as a youngster growing up, I can look back on it now and appreciate it. But at that time, I did not like it. I would think, I'm your child. You're supposed to blah, 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 all that good stuff. How did that make you feel?
Made me work harder. Made me work harder because what? I don't take very kindly to rejection, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, I don't know how to fail. And I've created a family out of nothing. I own a home out of nothing. I have a career outside of wrestling that I do very well at. And I made that through my hard work, my dedication, and my determination to be successful. Again, 25 years, wrestled all over, dude, all over. And everyone who's anyone on TV, I've crossed paths with, either tagged with, wrestled against. And point is, I'm still here. Yeah. I'm 47 years old. I feel like I'm 22, no injuries. And I could still outwork everybody because, and this is funny, and that's not me just putting myself over. If you know people who've trained with me, and if you ever get Mike Mondo on the show, he'll tell you, him and I, we get in the ring and we start training together. We're two machines, and I can go 60 minutes without getting blown up easy. Now, playing Legos with my sons for 5 minutes.
No.
I'm huffing and puffing. I'm tapping out. I'm done. But in that squared circle, circle, here's another reference. Like the movie, I turn the hat around. Boom. I'm a machine. It's game time. Let's go. Like Stallone in the arm wrestling movie. What was it called?
Over the top.
Over the top. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, it's what I love. It's where I'm home. Literally, I get in that ring, whoosh, everything disappears. All the worries, all the stress, any anxiety, anything. It's just me in my happy place. And that's all it is.
I love it. Good.
What are some of your? Here's a question for you. What are some of your favorite promotions or even events over the years that you've wrestled on or wrestled for?
Oh, so many. I'm afraid if I mention anybody, I'm going to leave people out. But I'll drop a few. ECWA was good. Winning the Super 8 in 2012 was a great feeling.
Absolutely.
Wrestling in England for Brian Dixon and All Star Wrestling, may he rest in peace. That was fun. Wrestling for Harley Race in World League Wrestling, that was great. Yes. Wrestling for Ring of Honor, wrestling for TNA, wrestling for AEW, wrestling at the Garden in a tryout match. It was myself and Rob Vegas, one of the greatest tag partners I've ever had. Inside joke, but not really. I really mean it. Versus the Briscoe brothers when they had their tryout. And we wrestled and had a match in Madison Square Garden in front of the agents, in front of the locker room. There was no crowd there, but technically I wrestled in the Garden. And I hold that near and dear in my heart because a lot of people can't say that. And, you know, Wrestling Hero and Chris and Claudio, their tryout match, you know, before WWE went live with Tony Nese and Alex Reynolds at the same time, just doing open ring tag-ins and wrestling around, the five of us, and they all got signed except for me. So who knows, you know?
Exactly.
But again, point being is, let's see. I loved wrestling for NYWC, this new company, Colossal Championship Wrestling in Queens, New York. I love wrestling for. I extremely love wrestling for Virginia Championship Wrestling. It is a great promotion in Virginia, very old school, but not old school to where you're throwing over the top rope is DQ. It's a good mix. Loved wrestling for Ronan when it was around in Florida. Loved wrestling, you know, Bumps and Brews, and for Bart, I forgot the name of his promotion, but Bart in LA, and we're wrestling with Dave Marquez in Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. That was great wrestling for him. You know, I wrestled all over. So wrestling in Canada, you know, that was great.
You literally named like a who's who on the wrestling scene. I want to go back. You wrestled at WLW with Harley Race. Talk to me about that experience. It's not many people that we get a chance to talk to who've had interactions with Harley Race. So if you could just chime in on that a little bit.
Sure. First of all, I'm a very big Harley Race fan.
Yes.
Because he's tough as nails, and I respect the hell out of that so much.
Nice.
But he had a camp in 07. Yes, in 07, he had a camp with Noah. I went to the camp. I worked the camp. Everyone and their mother was telling me, "You're going to Japan. You're going to Japan. You're going to Japan." Unfortunately, never went to Japan. But I did meet Nick Aldis.
Okay.
And him and I hit it off. And him and his mates from England hit it off. And Nick vouched for me with Brian Dixon. And that's what got me to England. And I did a 3-week tour and stayed at Nick's house for 3 weeks. Shout out to Nick Aldis. Former NWA champion.
Yes.
Hell of a wrestler. Very good looking man, hell of a GM as well. But Harley was cool because I introduced myself to him. Everyone's marking out for King Harley Race. They want to see the crown. They want to see the king. I said, Harley. I said, Mr. Race, it's a pleasure to meet you. I said, I'm a big fan, number one. I'm going to hopefully do well in this camp. I said, but can I ask you a question? Where is it? What, kid? You know, where's the good stuff? Where's the 10 pounds of gold? He smirked. He goes, in the back. So you go in the back. He had a little glass thing with 10 pounds of gold in it, and I marked out huge. I was like, oh, this is so So I come back, and he looks at me, and we're talking a little. He goes, you know what? You remind me of Rick Rude. I went, whoa. I was like, whoa. Thank you, sir. I go, that's a hell of a compliment. He was a hell of a wrestler. And a hell of a man, too. Cool. Thank you. Nice. So we do the camp. The best of the best from the camp do the Friday show. Okay? I'm one of the guys. Nick Aldis is one of the guys. Steve Anthony's one of the guys. But
Steve Anthony, yeah.
Harley pulls us aside. He goes, one of his students, Matt, or I forgot the guy, the other student's name, was telling me, hey, Harley wants you on the WLW show tomorrow. You're not flying home. I said, no, I'm flying home Sunday. He goes, can you do it? I said, fuck yeah, I'll do it. So I ended up wrestling at a WLW show that was outside of any camp affiliation that Saturday, and only 2 people were picked, Steve Anthony and myself. And Harley even paid me. And it says, I wasn't expecting payment, but I appreciated it, and I very well took it. Guy gives you money, you take it.
Sure.
But here's the cool thing. Harley wanted me to move to St. Louis to work for him full time.
Wow.
And we had a discussion on the phone. He goes, what would it take to get you to St. Louis, kid? I said, Harley, I would love to work for you full time. I would pack my car and drive there tomorrow. But I got a family. And at the time, I had 2 kids. I have 4 kids in total, but I had 2 kids and a wife. And I said, I can't just pick up and leave. I said, I can come in, and if you want to bring me in, you could bring me in, and, I'll do the dates then. He goes, yeah, the budget's not there for fly-ins, kid. I'm sorry. I'm like, that's all right, man. If things change, either which way on your end or my end, I'll be in touch. And it never changed, and I never went to Noah, which is sad because I really want to go to Japan. That's one of the things on my bucket list to knock off. I was supposed to go to Japan 3 times, and 3 times it didn't happen. So,
yeah, definitely got my fingers crossed for you on that
thank you,
one.
man.
But on a professional level, to have Harley Race ask you to come be there full time, that I was the honor of that.
Oh,
alone.
of course, because real recognizes real. Number one. Number 2, I wrestled that Saturday. I wrestled Curtis Axel, aka Joe Henning. Sure. And it's like 4th or 5th match in front of Larry the Axe Henning.
Nice.
And we had a great match. Did the honors to Joe or Curtis Axel, whatever name you want to use. And Larry Henning pulled his grandson to the side and says, that kid's good. He's a good heel. You guys had a very good match. That's probably the best match you've had so far. So I was honored that Larry the Axe Henning told him that. And then I met Larry the Axe. He shook my hand and he told me the same thing. And it was
wow.
It was like being on Dream Street. You know what I'm saying? And whenever I do shows like NWA Legends Fest or any of these convention shows, or I'm ever on the shows with like the Rock and Roll Express or any of the quote unquote my old timers, right?
Yeah.
And they see me wrestle and the heat that I get, they go, kid, no one gets heat like that no more. You're a throwback. That's awesome. I'm like, thank you, man. I'm like, I tell them I'm a student of the game. I don't need to be flashy. I don't need to win with a finishing maneuver. I'll cheat to win because I need to leave with heat. I'm a heel.
Exactly.
That's it. I don't need to be a cool heel. There's no such thing as a cool heel. That's like being a smart retard. Doesn't make sense. You know what
I mean? being a student of the game, where were some of those heels?
I love the Four Horsemen.
Yes.
My favorite incarnation, Flair, Tully Arn, Wyndham. I'm a big on Anson Mark. I think he's a better worker than Flair. But Flair obviously has more pizzazz, more entertainment value with his robe and his hair and Space Mountain and all that stuff. Flair's a great worker too. Great worker. But I really liked Arn because Arn can make a piece of paper look good, you know? And in my opinion, him and Tully is probably the greatest tag team of all time because one week they could wrestle the LOD and make them look like Fred Astaire, and the next weekend they're wrestling the Rock and Roll Express and making them look like God's gift and have 2 different types of matches and adapting to their opponents, which is very difficult to do, you know? Right. But I digress. Heel wise, Regal.
Okay.
Top of the list. Finley. Guerrero. Malenko when he was heel. Benoit. I know, touchy subject. Yeah. No pun intended. Saturn. Jericho.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, let's see, Triple H, Randy Orton when he was when he freaking DDT'd Stephanie McMahon, had her all whatever handcuffed or whatever it was on the ropes, and he was just was he the Viper at the time or whatever he was, Legend Killer, I don't know. Yeah. But he's some guys I like back in the day, the Freebirds. A lot of people don't say this. Bob Orton, very underrated.
Absolutely.
Adrian Street, Adrian Adonis, Nick Bockwinkel. Come on, guy's legendary, you know. So I like different things from different people. I don't have one person per se that I just like to emulate, but I like to take a little bit from everybody, and I see the best qualities in all these people I just mentioned, just a few of them, and they're Bubba Ray. Bubba Ray's a great heel. The Dudley Boys, you know. So to each their own. I mean, but there's so much to pick from. You know, it's wrestling. It's not stealing. You're just taking stuff from here and there and making your own little recipe.
It's exactly. I truly find myself like laughing when folks get excited about somebody doing something when you literally saw someone else do that same thing 25, 30 years ago. Like not much is original these days, whatnot, but everybody nowadays putting their own interpretation on it. You know?
Yeah, and that's another thing I tell the kids nowadays. Not the what, it's the how.
Right.
That's the important. How and why, but mostly the how. How you do things. It has to have meaning. There has to be substance behind everything. Every little step, every little mannerism, every little facial expression, everything has to have meaning for you to evoke emotion and reaction from the crowd. You're doing it because it meant something. You're not just do it to do it. When you do that, then you're just pissing in the wind. You're wasting everyone's time.
Absolutely.
That's a good point.
Joey.
Okay. Oh, go ahead, Joey. Go ahead, Joey.
Oh no, I was thinking. Go ahead.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I want to reverse that. What about your favorite faces?
A lot of those guys I mentioned are also good. They were good faces. Like, I mean, Kurt Angle's on there. He was great. Stone Cold. But I was a WCW guy, man. I loved the NWO. I totally forgot Hall and Nash. Oh my God. Hogan turning heel was like Darth Vader of wrestling, you know? It just there's so much. I mean, Rey Mysterio, you know, all the luchadors. And in my opinion, God damn it, put Conan in the Hall of Fame. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame because without Conan, there'd be no Rey Mysterio, there'd be no Psychosis, no Juventud, no La Parka, no El Dandy, no Hector Garza, none of those guys. And because of that, and no 90s cruiserweight action, there'd be no early 2000 Ring of Honor, no style the way it is now, no ricochets. It's just a continuous lineage, like a family tree. He deserves his flowers. So Conan, my man, I know we know each other and we're friends, but amigo, you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. And I'm not just saying that because you're the booker of AAA. It's because you really do deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Baby faces. Let's see. I mean, Ricky Steamboat, the ultimate baby face. Ricky Morton. Of course. Yes. Ricky Morton. Yes. I tell people, you want to learn how to sell? They're like, what's selling? Get out of here. You don't deserve to be in I said, you want to learn how to be, you want to learn how to sell? Watch Ricky Morton, Ricky Steamboat, and watch HBK. Those are your top three sellers. Even Bret Hart, his execution, everything was great in the ring. Technically wise, he was great, fantastic up there, both his heel and I love the whole Hart Foundation with him and Bulldog and Pillman. The British Bulldogs, Dynamite Kid and Davey Boy Smith is one of my favorite tag teams. Probably
Absolutely.
And the Steiner brothers too. They're one of my favorite tag teams, and so was the LOD. I mean, Harlem Heat, Doom. I mean, so many great tag teams. Midnight Express. Whew.
Oh yeah.
That song. Whew, one of the best.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, but point being is there's so many great faces, so many great heels throughout the industry of this business. I mean, so many. I mean, because they each added their own spice into the like. I mean, I can mention Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. People are like, who?
Exactly.
Like,
oh man!
What? I mean, put it this way: Gary Hart.
Exactly.
One of the greatest managers of all time.
Yeah.
People may not know who he is, and if you don't, shame on you.
Exactly.
Muda, Chono, You know,
Yeah.
Stan Hansen. I mean, Hansen, Brody. You kidding me? The legend, Terry Mother effing Funk. You know?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
so many to go on. So many people. Just
We're
too
speaking my
many.
language over here. I love it. I love it. The big thing I was looking forward to asking you was being in the business 99 since 99 to right now. You truly have seen a couple evolutions in the business, and you have literally stood the test of time. Going back to that early 2000s scene, WCW shutting down, WWF the only thing in town. As an up and comer on any scene in 2001 in that time frame, what was your mindset, and what was your feeling during that time?
It was weird. I'm
Uh,
not gonna lie, because the options were limited. I'm
yeah,
5'10". I'm not 6'5". You know what I'm
right.
saying? At the time, unfortunately, uh, ECW shut down,
Yeah,
WCW shut down, uh, WWF were going through their motions, and they only had X amount of spots available. They stopped using managers. They stopped caring about tag teams. Um, They were 1 week hiring vanilla. The next week it was chocolate. 2 weeks later it was strawberry. And they were just flipping coins, throwing stuff against the wall to see if it sticks. So it was difficult. But at the same time, and in between time, you're still wrestling all over, trying to make a name for yourself. It's almost like being in the territories when you're getting booked all over the place, wrestling here, wrestling there, overseas, and you're learning. And you keep learning. And still 25 years in the game, every time I step in that ring, I learn something. I still get nervous. I still get anxious before I get out there because I'm learning and I still am passionate. The day I stop learning or the day I stop being passionate or anxious or nervous before I step out, it's the day I need to hang up my boots because that's it. It's over. You know? But at the time in the early 2000s, it was weird because 1 week they wanted bodybuilders. Next week they wanted athletes. And 1 week for 3 minutes they wanted a pro wrestler, and then they changed their mind. And my friend Matt Stryker gets hired, great for him. And then they change it, and they only want tall guys. You know, I was doing extra work at the time, and Jamie Noble was telling me, "Dude, you're a great worker." He's 5'7". He goes, "But Vince wants tall guys," and I know it's weird because I'm 5'7". You're taller than me, but don't give up. You know, don't give up. Don't give up. Okay, what else can I do? I just show up, do what I'm told, showcase my talents, and if it sticks, it sticks. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Unfortunately, at that time, during the yes, let me kiss Vince's ass, hire all the big guys to save my job era, it is what it is. Nowadays, it's different. Wrestling is different. Wrestling is totally different. A lot of the guys maybe would have had bigger shots back in the day, who aren't 6'5". But at the same time, I mean, God has a plan for everybody. So, you know,
Yep.
when it happens, it happens. And nowadays, you said evolution. That's a strong word because
yeah,
I watch wrestling nowadays, and some matches are great. Like this main event we just had for Raw between Seth Rollins and Finn Balor was amazing because they told the story. One was working the leg, the other one was working the ribs, and they made it work. And it was a hell of a banger. But then you have other matches, no one in particular that I'm going to pick out, but it's like, let me kick you in the face and run away for you to hit the rope so you could follow me and you could kick me in the face and then you could run away, or then you could run into the turnbuckle or bounce off the turnbuckle to come out and hit me with a clothesline or a flying knee or something. But if I Irish whip you to the same turnbuckle, it hurts. How does that make sense? Or like I said before, let me hit you with a forearm, you know, sell it. Let me hit you with a punch in the face, you know, sell it. Let me hit you with an enziguri, you know, sell it. But as soon as I chop you, you're down and out and you're selling that like a gunshot. wait a minute. It's like we're driving stick shift in reverse. We're going from gear 5 to gear 1. Makes no sense whatsoever. Again, GGP, vanilla chocolate strawberry, believability, reality.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just my cup of tea.
No, it's very understandable.
Yeah, absolutely. Joey.
Well, I'll tell you, I got a question for you because we've seen you pop up in a lot of places. We saw you at NWA 76. You've popped up around some different places over the last few years. Over the last few years, I guess my question for you is too, because you've obviously we've seen you show up on AEW TV. We've seen you show up on different places. What are those experiences like, and who do you kind of see as? I guess I'm trying to think of how to put this question, but like promoter wise or promotion wise, especially with the NWA trying to keep poking up and doing, they go in waves themselves and stuff like that in different companies. Like, I'm trying to think of how to put this question down. Like, what are those experiences like? Because you've obviously worked for countless promoters over the years, things like that, as at different levels, at different levels. So, I guess in the modern time, what are those experiences more like today?
Working for the NWA was fantastic. Working for AEW was fantastic. Walking into the locker room and everyone knew where I was. I felt like Norm walking into Cheers. You know what I mean? I mean, people may not get that reference. I know we get it because we're old.
Yeah.
But point is, I walk into AEW locker room. I've wrestled 99.9% of the people on the roster on the Indies over the last 25 years. My friends are there. You know what I mean? Guys that we've ridden up and down the roads together. But it was cool. One shot I had with them was during the pandemic, which was cool. I wrestled the Black Order, had a great match, got touted for it. Great job. Nothing came of it. Year later, I reached out. I said, "Hey, did I do something wrong? My blackballed. What's going on? I haven't heard anything back." No. Here, can you do these dates? Sure. So I go there and I wrestle Lance Archer. Great match. Guy was very giving. Could have squashed me in 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Let me shine a little bit. Gave me a lot. Great dude. Had a good match. People liked it. Next night, I didn't have a match. So allegedly, some guy, they couldn't find one of the wrestlers in the 6-way. So I said, if you want, I'll jump in and take his spot. All right. Then the guy shows up. He was there the whole time. I was like, all right. So then Brian Cage pulls me over. He goes, you want to work me? Sure, let's dance. So I ended up working Brian. And now Brian, again, great guy, was very giving. Took a lot of offense, didn't have to. Guy's built like a freaking monster.
Yeah.
And, was out with my former manager, Nana, which is hilarious.
Nana, yeah.
And then had a great match. Got touted for that as well. And, it was a good experience. And just unfortunately, nothing came of it. Again, show up, do what you do best, keep doing what you're doing. Hopefully someone says, hey, this guy made him look like $1 million, sign him. So what, he doesn't do a triple Lindy backflip off the top rope. Not because I can't, I just don't. Because guess what?
It makes sense.
Well, not only makes sense, but everyone else is doing triple Lindies. Why would I do a triple Lindy? You know what I'm saying? Like, then I'm just like everybody else. I'd rather stand out. And it is what it is. But again, like wrestling for the NWA, great time. Another promotion I loved wrestling for is Mask Republic with Kevin Kleinrock.
Yeah.
He had the Lucha Expo or Expo Lucha, I forgot what it was, in Philly. And I got so much heat, dude. I came out with a mask. I threw the mask on the floor. Said how the Mexicans and the Latinos had desecrated the sports the Greeks invented, professional wrestling, with the stupid masks and the 2 referees because people can't count to 3, in Mexico, yada, yada, yada. So much heat.
You did your job.
But I did my job. Yeah, and it was great. I had a great time. Listen, I make the most of where I work because I just do what I'm told. And when I do go there, I do it to the best of my abilities, and it's a learning experience. Working for TNA back in the day was great at the Nashville Fairgrounds. Working for all over the Indies was great. working, for every national company, either as an extra or, enhancement match or whatever you want to call it, was great. Do I think I belong on a national stage? Absolutely. But if you ask somebody that and they say, well, I don't know, then they don't need to be in the business, because come on, man, if you're not betting on yourself, no one else is going to bet on you. So again, I'm not coming off, and I hope I'm not coming off conceited. I'm just confident in what I can do.
Exactly.
See, so it is what it is. As far as promoters, there's been a lot of good promoters. There's been a lot of wishy-washy promoters, like, you're not wishy-washy, but like typical independent promoters that think they're promoters because they put a flyer on Facebook or social media and they draw 20 people, or 40 people, and they'll rather put themselves in the main event and make themselves a champion on their own show. It could be worse. They could be on the board of directors and make themselves the people champ. Oh, what did I just say that? I'm so sorry. Sorry, Dwayne. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
These are
really.
jokes.
Not really.
But sorry, huh?
I love it.
Hey, the guy's a multi-millionaire. He can do it. He could do whatever he wants, and he deserves it. I'm just busting chops, and hopefully it goes viral, and I get noticed, and I can have an interaction with The Rock. It'd be cool.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. We're at the top of the hour, Papadon. This has been like amazing, so amazing that we have got to bring you back, because we haven't even scratched the surface with you yet. We
have to pack it in an hour.
I mean, if you guys want to keep going, we can keep going and break this up into parts. Since I'm here, it's up to you guys.
Yeah.
Up to you guys. I mean,
I got everybody thinking now. You got everybody thinking.
We got part 1, part 2. There's a lot we can cover. We still got to cover. We can still cover more wrestling. We can cover my upcoming dates that I have. This Saturday.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Talk.
This Saturday.
Go through that.
This Saturday, the 22nd of February, I will be at NYWC, New York Wrestling Connections, WrestleMania-like show called Psycho Circus. It's their 22nd Psycho Circus. I happen to be in 2 Psycho Circus in the past, and it's a crazy match where one half of the ring is a steel cage, one side of the ring is steel cage, other side is covered in barbed wire. There's a whole melee of weapons and all that stuff. It's a Psycho Circus. That night, I will be wrestling Dan Moth. Him and I go back 25 years. We've done this dance a million times, but this time it's different. You see, in my corner is my old manager from the Solution days, John the Sure Thing Shane. And when I tell you people this, he is the greatest manager never to be on TV, because when he was coming up in the business with the Doghouse, he was in talks with Kevin Kelly and WWE, and they told him, hey man, you're amazing, but you're like the Model T now. It's not your time. We're not using managers anymore, and it's passe in Vince's eye, and this is the only place to go. So unfortunately, that is the case, but the guy's a plethora of knowledge. He's a good friend of mine. And what happened was his piece of trash nephew, Lawrence St. John, who we brought into the business, turned his back on his uncle 2 months ago, low blowed him from the back, no diddy, and hit him with a steel chair repeatedly. Now, John is a cancer survivor and not in the greatest health right now. He's up there in age, but we get a little retribution this Saturday, because Danny Moff is being hired by his little punk ass nephew, Lawrence St. John. And there's a stipulation added that if Danny Moff wins, John and I must leave the NYWC for good. We came up with our own stipulation, which Lawrence St. John agreed on. And that was, when we win, we get 5 minutes alone with LSJ, aka Lotion Boy McGee. And Lotion Boy can't run and can't hide. because if he just tries to avoid the 5 minutes or run and hide, then he has to leave NYWC forever. So he's gonna pay his dues come Saturday. You can mark my words. And it's a rare instance when you get to see babyface Papadon do his thing. So that's going to be this Saturday. The following weekend, the 28th, March 1st, and March 2nd, is a Northeast NWA on tour. On the 28th in Freeport, Long Island, I'll be on the show. March 1st in Greenport, Long Island, all the way out in Suffolk, Long Island by the Hamptons, I'll be on that show. And on March 2nd in Jersey, I'll be on that show. March 8th, Brooklyn, New York, I will be at Wrestling Is Now, Win, where it was supposed to be Channing Decker, my tag team partner, and myself versus Steve Pena and Jose Maximo, one half of the SATs. But Channing Decker is going to be in Japan for Big Japan Wrestling. So now there's a void in the spot, and I don't know who my partner is going to be. So it's me and a mystery opponent. You know, maybe they'll cut in the back and someone comes out of a limo. Not really. But point being is me and a mystery opponent versus Steve Pena and Jose and Joel Maximo from the SAT in the main event at Win March 8th. March 8th, there's also another show that I'm promoting. I'm not on. Colossal Championship Wrestling in Queens, New York, where you're going to have Hurricane from the Los Boricos on the show. And you're going to have two fantastic women wrestlers fighting for the championship. So if you can't make it to Brooklyn, go to Queens and check out Colossal Championship Wrestling. That's March 8th. March 15th, I'm in Virginia for Virginia Championship Wrestling. And on that show, I'll be fighting Ken Dixon. I already mopped the floor with that hick. I don't know why I have to take out the garbage twice, but Nikita Koloff will be there signing and taking pictures.
Oh man.
And the Russian Nightmare, obviously great guy. That's the March 15th, Virginia Championship Wrestling. March 22nd, where am I? Am I anywhere March 22nd? I got to check, but I'm all over the place, my man. I'm just getting booked and making towns and trying to make the most out of it and continuing to work everybody.
Absolutely. He does a great job on his social media, keeping folks up to date as to where he's going to be at. Make sure you follow him at Greek God Papadon on YouTube, Instagram, and on X as well. So make sure you give him a follow.
Can I say one more thing? I'm sorry to cut you off.
Absolutely.
I have my own podcast. I used to have two.
Yes.
Okay. One is Blackballed, or we got Shadow Banned. That was a Conspiracy Horseman, which was myself, Bin Ha-Min, Stevie Richards, and Big Sal Graziano. It was four wrestlers talking about quote unquote conspiracy theories, but more importantly, free thought and questioning the narrative and never being told what to do. I have a problem with authority. You know what I'm saying? We flew too close to the sun that we got blackballed and we got shadow banned and taken down all the networks that we were on. But you can still find some of our previous shows here and there. Conspiracy Horsemen, look it up. And we may be doing some new shows coming up, hopefully, if we can all get our schedules in sync. And the other podcast is the New Force Order, not the New World Order. Same logo, F instead of W, because I'm an NWO mark, and an NFO mark. Stands for New Force Order. It's a Star Wars podcast. So if you're into Star Wars and you want to hear some real talk about Star Wars and how bad it is now because of Kathleen Kennedy, give us a follow, give us a listen, any platform, and Pro Wrestling Tees/Greek God Papadon for all the coolest Greek God Papadon merch you can get.
Absolutely. Make sure you guys follow him on all of that. Papadon, we appreciate the time. We have got. You got to come back and do round 2 with us.
Let's do it.
So we definitely gonna get on your busy schedule. So we'll definitely be in touch with you about that. Want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. As always, we ask that everybody continue to support and like us on all our social platforms as well, on Facebook, at our group page, our business page on YouTube, Twitch, and on Instagram. Give us a follow. It's absolutely free to follow and like and subscribe and all that, guys. Go ahead and do your boys a solid. Papadon again. Thanks again for the time. And yes, because we didn't even talk. We haven't even talked. We haven't talked about the collection behind you. We haven't talked about championship belts. That's why we haven't even scratched the surface. So we're gonna bring you back because we're gonna dive into that a little bit as well. So Papadon, we're gonna bring you back to talk about, gentlemen. Let's come back next week and do some more good stuff over here at Bells and Bells. Yeah,
of course.
Yep. All right, for our guest Papadon, for Joey and Man Up, I'm your boy Cedric D, and we will see you guys here next week here on Bells and Bells.